in his thing
Right.
because he would take them when he dropped
Got thing, yeah.
whatever. So I was like, okay, fine, right?
Mhm.
So they know about the first day picture. But I'm sorry, everyone knows you take a picture of your kid. the
Hey,
first
can
day
you hand
of
me the
school.
phone over there, Bobby? Did I sit right there? What do I do with it?
Is this it?
Yeah, that's it. I am getting ready to do a live video. So I'm sorry to kick you out.
No, you can kick me out.
It's on the floor, yours, so you can't hear talking.
All right, so I'm going to. All right. Sorry, it took me a few minutes to get this set up, and I have didn't intend on doing this morning. Like I never do live videos. Like I literally never do live videos. I probably won't be able to respond if anybody asks questions, but I'll try. So we have a whistleblower from Arizona that I'm getting ready to get on the phone. She is actually she's not the whistleblower. She's talking to the whistleblowers, and we have election fraud problems going on right now in Arizona. So you know, I keep hearing people say, "Hey, we got to wait till midterms. We're going to turn everything around in midterms. Everything's going to be fine by then. We'll just take the House back and flip the Senate, and everything's going to be good, right?" So the truth of the matter is, I said to everyone who's made that same comment, "Hey, like." What if we have election fraud again? What if it happens again? What if that is a continued problem and Americans like go to the polls and they steal the election? So this morning driving in, I was on the phone early. I was about 7:45 my time, and I'm talking with somebody in Arizona about what's happening there. So I'm going to call her. We're going to go live on the phone with her in just a second, and hopefully you can hear her. But I want you all to have an opportunity to hear what's happening in Arizona. If you don't know, this crap's going to happen everywhere. Everywhere that they're able to find a way to manipulate the vote, they're going to find a way to manipulate the vote. So here, let me look up her number again. And bear with me one second, please. I will get her on the phone. Hadn't thoughts. I don't want any text right now. I'm going to turn this phone off. And here we go. I'm not going to let anybody see me dial this number. Stand by. Stand by.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. Again.
Good morning.
So I know we just talked 45 minutes ago, and I've already started a live stream. So I haven't done this in. I don't know that I've done a live stream ever on YouTube. I have been on Facebook, but we are live now. We don't have a ton of subscribers, so the truth of the matter is, we're probably going to lay this down live, and then people will come back and watch it if that makes sense. So I kind of gave an intro. I'm gonna do it one more time for anybody who joins. I've been very political. You and I have these discussions regularly. I keep hearing everyone who comes in to our place of business, hey, we're going to flip the House, the Senate in midterms this year. We're going to take those back. And so then we'll be able to, rid the world of all this garbage that's going on. But the thing that I think, and maybe they're non-believers in election fraud, but the truth of the matter is that election fraud exists. We've already had some people convicted for election fraud. That's gotten almost no press. You are I've introduced you as the whistleblower, but I know that you're really not. Like, you're getting the information from whistleblowers. But you all had an extremely tumultuous election last year. 2 years ago. And then here we are again watching the same things happen, but with a little bit different twist. Do you mind going over the stats that you were telling me earlier and some of the incidences that are already being reported to you in Arizona with regards to election fraud?
Sure. One of the things that was kind of interesting that I just listened to is that in Pinal County and Pima County is where a lot of the complaints are being. Pima is where I am.
Right.
But here, an example is this one poll worker reported she's been a worker for 16 years. They only had 70 Republican ballots available. Her manager, whoever's in charge of that particular precinct, called the night before in anticipation that it wasn't enough, and she was promised to have more ballots the next morning. That didn't happen. She called again. It didn't happen for hours. In 2020, that same precinct, even with COVID, had over 200 ballots, Republican ballots to start with. But this year, this election, they only had 70.
Wow.
And the precincts that are in areas where there's more Republican registered voters are the ones that are reporting the ballot shortages. So that was one thing. But then, so people were, well, first of all, we reduced the number of precincts by 100. So people woke up, if they weren't on top of it, went to their normal precinct and found out it no longer existed. So they had to rally and find a new place to vote. When they got there, many places reported that their machines were malfunctioning to count the vote. So there's an official in Maricopa County, and he got on it. He said, "Look, the machines are old. They were only able to print 40 ballots an hour, so that's why the slow count." But then several in my precinct, I asked, "Do you guys have any trouble?" She said, "Yeah, our printers wouldn't work this morning.
Unbelievable.
They worked yesterday, but they didn't work this morning." So they had their biggest, influx of people coming in person came in an hour when the machines somehow didn't work.
Wow.
We heard this all over and over where precincts would say that they had like only 25 Republican ballots.
What?
Yeah. So, and then when they asked for more, like 3 hours later, we get 20. So it made it almost impossible. You had to be really determined to vote if you kept going back only to find there wasn't a ballot available for you to use. Another reason is a lot of people caught wind that mail-in ballots, and I've tried to understand why this is a problem because I've done this myself. I ask for a mail-in ballot and I drop it off the day of. But we learned yesterday that those drop-off ballots are the last to be counted.
Unreal.
If they're counted at all. And I don't know how they know that, but that's the things that we heard. But in Pinal County, the county attorney, Ken AllStar, is the one that reported in a press that he's admitting they underestimated the number of ballots needing using a formula that Katie Hobbs, the Secretary of State, who's now running as Democrat for governor, provided to the precincts.
And what party is she running under?
She's running as for governor against Carrie Lake, but she is Secretary of State and she's in charge of elections.
So what? But what party is she currently running under? I guess she's a Democrat.
Yep.
Okay. If she's running against Carrie Lake, she had to either be an independent or a Democrat.
The other thing, speaking of independents, they're reporting that when 71% of independents that have walked in to vote in person, asked for Republican ballots. They really did grossly underestimate the need. They just didn't have enough. But 71, that's actually good news
yes.
In terms of wondering which independents are doing. But right now, like Biden was called in 2020 with 11,000 votes ahead.
Yeah, I remember that.
Carrie Lake already has 12,000 votes ahead of her opponent.
And they haven't had enough ballots at the precincts to have a complete election.
Yes, but there's still like thousands. They say like thousands that are not counted yet. So on the back end, you're wondering, okay, why? Why were they not prepared to count? Have this thing tabulated the night of, and give us all the answers the next morning. An interesting fact is that all of the down ballots, that have been counted. They're in. Only the governor's race is out there with an unknowable. I don't understand that, but the good news is that all of our America First candidates won their primaries, so that was good news. But I think they knew this, so they made it harder for people to vote.
Right.
By making the machines not workable, but reducing that they were short on ballots, short on workers, and I just now heard that workers were not even trained on how to use provisionary machines. Like if you need to, anyway, they weren't trained.
Right.
So what the experts are saying is that this is just human error, but it doesn't sound like that.
No.
So it's just kind of, there was a big issue here about felt tip pens. They asked everybody to use felt tip pens, and then the alert came, those things bleed.
Yeah, they do.
So then they ruin the ballot.
So I'm actually sitting here on another chat with another poll watcher, friend of mine here. He's a colonel. I won't share his name because that's not fair since he's working the polls. But he did say that he's not only watching what's going on in the polls here, but what you all had happen in Arizona. And I asked him, I said, because I really, I thought I knew the answer, but I wanted to get it from him. So I think every state is the same. You may or may not know, but it looks to me like the Secretary of State would be the one who would have to launch an investigation. But I don't know who would have the authority to set an election aside if we see blatant fraud like you all are having there in Arizona. Do you know, is it the governor that can, the Secretary of State launches an investigation, but who can actually set election aside? Do you know?
Well, I don't know who sets it aside, but I think the Attorney General would be involved, the Secretary of State, but I'll say fraud, but they'll just say, well, we just miscalculated, we underestimated, human error, blah, blah, blah. Who can help a machine breaking? Well, one machine, yes, but several, no. So I think the governor, which is why this is important to bring this to a close with a positive person in office, because then they could, the governor, the Secretary of State, and the Attorney General launch whatever investigation is what I would think. I don't know that for a fact, but that's a good question.
Yeah.
But there's the local authorities are also heavily problematic in terms of who they train. There weren't enough workers. So with the general coming up, it's critically important that people call their GOP offices and find out how to volunteer and get trained.
Yeah.
Because we even heard yesterday that there were polls, like there were workers which greet you and steer you to the table, show you where the ballot is. But then there's the one that actually does the counting. Mm-hmm. And then there are watchers that are supposed to watch.
Did I lose you? Oh, wow. Let me call her back. Let me get her back on here. Hang on one second. I think I lost you, Nana. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Is that your name? Very strange.
Hello?
Somehow the call dropped. Sorry about that.
That's okay. No, I was just saying that there's supposed to be workers who help people go through the line, and then there's watchers that watch those who count and put things through the machine.
Right.
Some polls did not even have watchers watching the counters. So
wow.
Was this by design? You can ask all these questions. Is it a coincidence? But I don't believe there are. But the number one thing is what they've done is voter suppression by not having enough ballots,
by
reducing the number of precincts. They're trying to make everybody do the mail-in ballots, which now makes me very suspicious of that, because then what do they do with it? If they don't count the mail-in ballots that are dropped off until last, what happens? Who's watching those ballots?
You know,
that's really what happened, I think, in 2020.
I think there's probably, so we have some other poll watchers. I think this is who's blowing me up. Like I'm getting some other calls in right now. Have some very good friends doing that here at Poll Watchers. I'm assuming that some of these other calls are coming in are about the same thing. I'm going to reach back out to them later. But you and I had, a numbers conversation. So, a precinct that normally has 200 Republican ballots, it only has 50 or 60 is just absurd. And if you all are consolidating polls there in Arizona, that means that they needed more than 200 based on last year's election and the consolidation of the places to vote. So, man, we're seeing it again. We're just seeing a different twist on. And listen, we may have had this happen a couple of years ago, but they were so focused on, the electronic fraud that they thought was there and the mail-in or drop-off ballots that they may have even missed this last time. Or maybe this is just the way they decided to do it this time.
Well, it's a way that they can appear innocent and saying, oh, it's just human error or machine error. But they're not. They're kind of like steering away from blaming the machines. And I'm not really sure how it works because one of the things that happens, so if you can vote anywhere, not just your precinct,
right?
You can vote anywhere. Then how much time does it take to get from the precinct outside of your precinct to get to where it needs to be counted in your precinct? I mean, that takes time.
Sure, it does.
So there's time consumption, shortage of workers, shortage of watchers, poorly trained people, shortage of ballots, improperly working machines. And the good news is that even though people walked away, most returned. There's a very small percentage that's just doing the Dow and said forget it. But people were determined to vote, and that's really good news.
That is really good news. And you all you said there's somebody there in Arizona that has, it's a call in, like if there's a problem, they have almost like a hotline that's set up to be able to deal with some of these issues. Is that right?
I'm not aware of a call-in. We have this really amazing radio talk show host here, and all day yesterday he opened his phone to every person that wanted to call in with their experience on the.
I got you.
So then we actually have, out of our 5 board of supervisors, there's one Republican who happens to be in charge of elections. So everything went from this talk. They're all good friends now. The talk show host, we're calling it Steve Christie's office, and they are on it. But all they're going to be able to do is report it. Now, will the news report it? And they're not. I mean, they're not letting us know that the one guy, the attorney for Pinal County, said, yeah, we just grossly underestimated. Well, and it was due to the formulas that were given by Katie Hobbs, who was running for governor as a Democrat, who gave them the formulas. So was it human error? Was it deliberate? Was it calculated to estimate the number of ballots needed?
Bobby,
in 2020, it was COVID, so you would actually think there would be fewer walk-in votes. Now, so why would the ballot numbers go from 200 to 75?
I don't know.
Don't have COVID.
I don't know. Yeah.
So we're hoping. I mean, right now we're waiting on the official. Another thing yesterday is Carrie Lake against Karen Robeson, and Karen Robeson sent a text to Carrie Lake yesterday saying that they do not have the numbers for a path to success. So basically, conceding texted by text, but not officially in public because all the numbers aren't in.
Right.
But, so they're actually already admitting that there's no path for a win.
Mm-hmm.
But they're trying to muck it up and make it look like it's a contested election when it's just all this error and miscalculation. And I think it was deliberate. And you can punch the numbers in anywhere.
Well, look, I got to open the doors.
Okay.
We've got this contract, and I've got 80 people coming today. So
people have their own local agents from your GOP office. You can find out who's in charge of elections in your city or county.
Yes.
And if you have seen something, you must call it in. And because unless we call it in, it's not going to be you have to blow up their phones and let them know what you heard.
When we finish this video, I'll try to post a couple links below it that show the places they can contact. I know who the Secretary of State is here. Actually, one of the guys, a friend of mine, is running for an office. He used to work for the Secretary of State. He's probably going to win his election today. But I'll try to post some links to Arizona too, who they can contact if they see fraud or if they know about fraud. But I think this is not going to stop. This was my concern with all the people coming in here and talking to us and saying, yeah, we're gonna flip the House coming in November. I'm like, yeah, not if there's massive fraud. And then they're probably just trying out to see what works right now so they can try it again in November.
Well, they'll probably learn from their mistakes and they'll just try to hide it better. But not if there's enough workers, and that's really critical.
We need poll workers.
Know the numbers to call.
Right.
Yes, we do.
Well, just get them, get someone who can send it to you.
No.
All right, look, I got to run. I appreciate you getting on the phone with me this morning. Thank you very much. And
All right. Have a great day.
this was live. We're going to post it out there in a few minutes.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
All right.
All right, everyone. That is the end of the stream. I will try to post links below if there has been fraud or your poll work or you know about fraud. We're here in Tennessee. They're in Arizona. I will try my best to give you the information that you need to be able to report it. Time to stop the shenanigans. I don't care if it's Republicans or Democrats. Nobody needs to be doing it. We need to have honest, fair elections, period. Listen, thanks for joining us. I'm going to shut this off and go vote, report it. Please like and subscribe.